Okay. All right, we're back again with Peter Kuzan, Owen Murphy, and Tom Akeland here on December 3rd, 1999, talking about old days in Lacombe.
It was said that once a year the Indian would purge himself. He would build campfires around the encampment about 50 feet apart, and he would dance and chant all night long till early in the morning, and then they would have a feast. That was their way of purifying their soul. And this guy, Rouquet, was claimed to be Adrian Rouquet, had got to be friends with these Indians.
Now, who was Adrian Rouquet?
That was the priest.
Catholic priest.
Yeah. And so he was called Choctaw Amma by the Indians, supposed to be like an Indian. That's what Amma means, Choctaw Amma.
Like a Choctaw.
Like a Choctaw. And he had privileges to go in the encampment, because if any white man went in there, they would kill him. And his brother, let's see, it was Adrian and Dominique. Dominique was Shukabula, the man with the black robe. And he had permission to go in there too. So they claim, they think that's where this tradition started of putting the candles on the grave, that Rouquet decided he would find a way to transfer this Indian ceremony to the French. The French picked it up and started, well, the Creoles picked it up and started, what they call it, La Toussaint.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Huh?
What does that mean?
La Toussaint, I think, is All Saints Day.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it could be
Yeah,
Toussaint.
yeah. La Toussaint, All Saints Day,
Yeah.
something like that. I got a little interpreting machine and I gotta look it up. Because I used to could speak a little French and pretty good Creole with nobody to talk to, you forget it. It leaves you. The young kids, they ain't got time to fool around with, and all them old ones, my grandmother and all of them, they're dead. And they didn't want you to learn, because when they wanted to say something about you to your father or your grandfather, they was speaking Creole, so you wouldn't know. So they would try to suppress you all the time, keep you from learning something. But my grandfather, my daddy told me that his grandfather was recognized among the Choctaws, Chauvinet, Joe Jackson, Touch Hall, Sidney Silverstein, Sanville Johnson, old man Joe Silverstein, and all that crew. Said, but if you did something, if you murdered somebody and you were found guilty, it would bring you before the council. And everybody thinks the Indians are renegades and the outlaws and everything, but it's not like it. They brought you before that council. If they found you guilty, you know, and the punishment was death. And what you had to do on the morning that they specified that you died, you'd have to go take all the best things that you think you was gonna need in the next world and put them in bear hide or good deer hide, or your spears, your arrows, your hunting knife, everything that you needed for the next war. Dig your own grave and stand up in the front of that grave at 6 o'clock in the morning. And they'd come there. If your father was living, he was the one that had to kill you. If your father wasn't living, your oldest brother had to kill you, or your next relative. Now, you had two options. If you didn't want that, you could leave the tribe. You'd be a renegade then. You could never come back to the tribe. But they tell you when you left, that any Indian from that tribe saw you had the privilege to kill you. They shoot you down and kill you, and nothing said. Because you had that, you wasn't supposed to be, that death sentence had been done passed on you.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, see you out there, if they knew you, he just shoot you down and kill you. That was his duty. So Don't sound like no renegade people to me. Because that was the law.
Is that Sydney there?
That's it.
Yeah, that's Sydney. And who is this woman? Do you know her? And that was about 1906.
I think that's Emma. Or Emma's mama.
Yeah, because Emma's on the other
Yeah.
page.
Yeah. Emma's here.
That's her down there.
Well, this woman here was married to my grandfather's brother.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I know she's married, but she lives with him.
Yeah.
That might be Emma's mama. This is Emile Jones. Yeah, he was the chief.
Yeah.
Emile Jones, I think with this fellow here must have been his brother, his cousin. This was the last chief. Just sent for him to come to Oklahoma and meet the chief over there. And he laughed at him. He told me, he said, "I'm an American now. I don't feel I want to be no chief." He just gave it up. He went over to stay about 2-3 weeks and signed some papers over there and give it back. And I know this old lady. That's Miss Anita. That's Miss Matilda Ford's mama. You see her making them Indian baskets? I know this old lady.
What was her name?
Huh?
What
Anita.
Anita.
Anita Celestin.
That was
Anita
Sydney's
Ford.
mama?
Yeah. He's a Celestin Ford. You know that little quarterback for Green Bay? I think he was kin to this lady.
Yeah, they
He's
are.
a Ford.
Right, up from Kill, Mississippi. Yeah, all those farms.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, was Sanville Johnson told me that not only the Favres up to Kill, but there's also a Poocher living in Bay St. Louis, or at the time I wrote this book, it was
Pichet.
That's it.
Pichet, and my grandfather married one of them.
Yeah, well, Sanville told me that there was still some family over there in Bay St. Louis.
But Pichet was a Frenchman. He was a white man, but that girl, I don't know what she was. She was half Indian, but Pichet was a white man, I think. Pichet French?
I guess, yeah.
Pichet was a white man, but that girl's mama was Indian. That old man married. Catherine Pichet, I believe. That's so far back, we'll never get all that shit.
No, that's the trouble. You know, so much has been lost because, you know, a lot of time, like I know in my family, they didn't want to admit that they had Indian blood.
If you write anything about these Cousins, it's something you need to know, because I wouldn't want to embarrass none of the family. And American society is a funny thing. Now they got 3 divisions in this family. When Francois Cousin, the second, the first one, that had all this land and everything, he's very wealthy. And he died. He left a lot of money, a lot of land, 39 slaves, 2-3 schooners, land in New Orleans, money in the bank and everything. So Francois, number 2, didn't have nothing to do but fight the government trying to prove all these claims for all that land, and he did prove them all. It was legitimate. They tried to take it away from him, but he couldn't take away none of it.
When was that about?
Oh, that was, man, early.
1800s?
Huh? Around
Early
1800s? Early 1800s. Maybe 1810, 1812 or something like that.
Very early. Right.
But then, we never could find where Francois was married. But he had children with 2 women. One was a white woman, and one was a woman of color, called a quadroon. And it seems from our research that he had these families at the same time, and it must have been accepted in that society. So now all the ones that he had with his white woman, they're white, and there's plenty of them out there. All the ones that he had with this quadroon is like me. They're not white. They're not full-blood white. They light complexion. Well, you see Alicia there. That's my granddaughter. She looks just like a white, you know. And then when America joined when Louisiana joined the Union, You see, a slave just had one name. They call him Zeb or John or any kind of old damn name, you know. So then they, for him to be indoctrinated in the American society, the way the states wanted, he had to have two names, a surname and a given name. And I don't know if it costs, how much it costs to emancipate a slave, 50, 60, $75. So Francois said he had 39 and he wasn't going to pay no $60 emancipating no slaves. So he fought with him, so he told me, so I tell you what I'll do. He said, you just give them black people my name. And that's how them black ones come out. So we got some white Cousins, we got some Creole Cousins, and then we got some black ones. Them black ones was them slaves. Francois said, I don't care if they have my name, it do me nothing, but I ain't paying no $50 to emancipate them. You really believe that? He's so tight was. And I saw some old papers in the courthouse where he was arguing with the French government buying land. This land, you know, how come he has so much? 10 cents an acre for the higher land, 6 cents an acre for the marsh land. Francois said no, 10 cents for the higher land and 3 cents for the marsh land. That was the deed he said I give you all. They took it.
And what did he do with the land?
He occupied it and had timber and everything on it. Just greedy, just wanted to have plenty of land.
But, I mean, he didn't plant. He wasn't a planter.
No, he was. I reckon they must have cut timber and stuff on there. I don't know. That's far back.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. My father was Rudolph, and we talking about Johnville, which is my grandfather. Then we talking about Louis Cousin, and then we go to Francois. You talking about 4 or 5 things back, generations back. So that's way beyond. And then I'm 72 years old. So that's taking it way back.
Well, you know, it's always been something that I've wondered about. Okay, he had 4,800, how you pronounce it, arpents?
Yeah, aprons.
Aprons.
Mm-hmm.
But what did he do with it? You know, I mean, you can just grow so much timber.
Well, the thing about it is this, it was the prestige. If you had plenty of land, that was the thing to do, be a big landowner and have a plantation, have plenty of slaves and wages.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what did the slaves do? He must have
made
farmed.
bricks. They made bricks. They had brick yards. And
Where the brickyard?
old brick yard down there in the Creole Road down there. So I know the name of it is Old Dixie Bell.
Okay, yesterday I was out on the bayou in the marsh there by the end of Boy Scout Road, you know, and we were looking at the pits there. Now, I understand that Lacombe was the first one to make bricks there. Are you familiar with that?
Old Lacombe, I think made bricks or something down there, or talk.
Because the pits, the pits are still there. You can see where they dug it
It
out.
was handmade.
But we went looking for a kiln.
Yeah, sun-dried. They didn't have no kiln.
They didn't have a kiln?
No, they were sun-dried bricks.
Because there's still some bricks there, but I don't think these are sun-dried bricks. They're hard. You know, I mean, just like those ones that are in the
I
bayou.
don't know, but them old bricks down in the graveyard, they look like old sun-dried.
The bricks
What
in
it
here.
was, they had a process that they grind up clam shells and yellow clay and put that in the mold and let it dry, and that lime stiffen that dirt up.
Right. Well, wasn't there a brickyard at the end of Main Street on the bayou, or was that just for lime?
No, that was a lime mill. They
That
used
was
to
the
grind
lime.
shells
Yeah.
in schooner land, and that's where the Eureka and Edna Brown and John Gross and the Lemon.
Those were all Cousin schooners?
No, that belonged to different one. Edna Brown and the Eureka was for Cousin, and those for them. Well, I know them fellas that don't. I'm talking during my time.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about way back.
Yeah, there was still schooners during your day, right?
Yeah, they went out a little while after I got here.
Yeah.
Because they used to have, I remember they had some deck hands would have some poles, some big poles, and they would have to keep the schooner in the middle of the bayou and pull it all the way down to the mouth of the bayou, and then they would blow in that horn. Woo! Woo, woo. And you see them big masses going up. Then another one doesn't go up. Then another one would go up. And you see that aftermath would go up 3.5 hours. There'll be a Nouvelle Orleans.
If they had a good wind.
Yeah, well, you have to have a good wind.
Yeah, good
Well,
wind. Otherwise, it could take you all day.
Well, they had a way. If they didn't have a good wind, they would tack it.
Yeah.
It'd go this way, they'd tack it back, and that took about 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
But you see, this was called North of the Lake, or the North Woods, and New Orleans was very dependent on this place over here because they had nothing. There was nothing but New Orleans was nothing but a mud hole. They had nothing. So they had to get everything run on with steam. They had to get all their wood from here. All the wood had to be sailed in by schooners. When you got to Bayou St. John, they had some mules there. They'd hook up the schooner to the mules, pull them up the Hugh Basin Canal, all the way to Canal and Rampart, unload them.
Did you ever ride on a schooner across it?
No, my brother did though.
When you went to New Orleans, you go by train, right?
Mm-hmm. But my brother, then if you wanted to go on a schooner, well, that was our kin people. You just go down there and they'd find something for you to do, you know. Maybe let you cook or get cows. Sometimes they take a load of cattle. The convoys over here, if I can remember, was wood, charcoal, lime, turpentine, livestock,
Tall.
and
Probably some produce. Cause I
Yeah.
can remember in the old Basin Canal swimming out there and knocking
they
watermelons
probably shipped a lot of produce
off
out
of
of here
them,
too.
you know,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know livestock. They ship a lot of livestock.
Yeah.
And wood was one of the main things.
This was open range, right?
Oh yeah. Or they just schools just rained on you, but 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I remember
Camping
that. I
all
was
around
here.
out there.
Yeah.
It's better too, because they kept all them bushes
Come
down.
through the woods, you know, at night. It's kind of spooky, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those cattle coming through there. But do you know the name of the schooner that was captured by the British in the late 1770s? Because that was a Kuzan schooner, but I've never been able to find out.
I didn't
The
show you
name
that old book by Francois Sardine Pichon,
No,
but I'm gonna get you one. He
no.
run the shipyard and got every schooner they had back in them days. And I'll go and get you one. I had it when I give it to Bun. I'll go by Dudley Smith and get you one. I'm gonna show you his picture. Excuse me for a minute.
Because you know, in my research, it was a Kuzan schooner that was captured by the British in Spanish waters off of the South Shore, and that was part of the excuse, the rationale for Bernard de Galvez to bring Spain into the Revolutionary War on the side of the column.
When you go out there and you be talking about them people, and me and Don was talking about Dick last year, his son was out in the audience. You remember that?
Lord, yeah. I'm sure glad I knew he was there before I started
Yeah,
talking about him.
That's Francois Sardine Pichon.
Oh no, you never showed me that, Peter.
No?
Mm-mm.
Well,
Let me see.
I get that book.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
He had a shipyard, a schooner yard in Bonfoucat. And he worked on all the schooners in the 1800s. Got all their names in there. So I'll get this book. I sent it to Bernie, but I'll get you one here and bring you one.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Well, now, this was a carrier?
Yeah, that's
Was that and this is part of your family?
well, that old lady, there's probably old man Carrier's niece or his granddaughter or
Uh-huh.
something. I don't know,
But
but
I mean, you were related to these people?
I really don't know. I can't tell you.
Uh-huh.
But if she's a Carrier, she had to come out, or she had to be old Francois Carrier, then niece or
Yeah.
granddaughter or something like that.
You know what's so hard about doing research on families is that every generation they name them the same name, and it's
thing.
so hard.
See, he got that. They had like that name. See, you got this name here, just like old
Right,
saying
yeah.
there.
I know in my family they got beaucoup people with the same name, you know, all the way down. And
Old
I'm
Francois.
glad my daddy named me different.
Yeah. Well, I like that a fit when they named my son Peter Jr.
Oh yeah.
No, I said, no, with all the names they got, and that caused a lot of confusion. I'll get you in them
It does.
books, Tom.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to fly out today. I'll probably go there by Dudley.
Yeah.
Well, Bunny is doing some research and he needed it. I had to send him that book there. How come I got to get another one from you?
Yeah.
And we might let our boy that read some of that stuff. He's a research man too.
Well, he's mainly doing the photography. I'm gonna be,
okay.
you know, trying to do some of the writing. But
Well, that's
look,
all- that's all
anything
that-
you got to ask,
That's over
go
inside.
ahead. You know, don't let me be burdensome with all of the questions. But yeah, you never told me about these people.
Mm.
But getting back to the Cousin family owning schooners, Francois came over here in what year? Do you know? 17? It was a middle or late 1700s, wasn't it?
You got it in this paper here? Yeah, we'd have to look.
Oh, in there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
got it in this paper here?
Yeah, well, there's so much information, you know, I just hadn't
Yeah,
gotten it
yeah.
all in my head yet.
But I might get run up on it right
Yeah,
away.
well, that's all right. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
we
It
got
says-
it in here.
Yeah. Now you see, Russell Barnes will find that very interesting.
Uh-huh.
You hadn't talked to Russell yet.
Yeah, I talked to him.
Or you did, but I mean, he hadn't come over here yet?
No, I see, since we went down by old, Mr. Doucette down there. Remember we went down there?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're getting back to the property at the end of Boy Scout Road. Do you remember that if there was a house on that property when it belonged to the lumber company?
No, I don't know anything.
Because Marjorie Moran told me that her daddy, when he was like supervisor for the lumber company,
Yeah, William
that
Davis.
they lived there.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's about your age, I
Oh,
guess.
Marjorie's older than me.
She's older than you?
Oh, Lord, Marjorie's up in her 80s.
Or she didn't have
Hell, I
you?
remember when Marjorie Moran got married. I was about 15, 16 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, Marjorie's way up my age. I'll tell you a little story. Something happened. I didn't have no birth certificate. So to get my pension, you know, my retirement and all that, I'd have to have a birth certificate. So Miss Terry Hand, you remember Hand was here, Terry Hand and Martha? Martha said, I'll fill out an affidavit and you get somebody about 10 or 15 years old and you to sign something in his hand. It'd be hard as chicken teeth to find somebody 50 years older than me. Yeah, I'm 70. She said, well, this is a couple of years. She said, maybe I put it up too high. So I got Margie and Archie and Miss Buckley to sign for me. It was all, I know they was all 8 or 10 years older than me.
Did the Davis family treat the Creoles all right? I mean, were they fair with them?
Well, they suppressed them. They worked them for nothing and wouldn't pay them and give them them orders, you know, and
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff.
Well, I know they felt that they were superior.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I mean, I still see
Margie
that.
tries to polish all that up, but she knew better than to bring that rhetoric to me. Cause my dad didn't have nobody that worked him. Cause my dad is my mom was my grandmother was some kin to old Davis and them, cause they all came from Pearl River. But my grandmother was illegitimate. They never did want to claim her. But she was kin to old Davis and them.
Mm.
And my dad and them, well, he didn't get along with them. See, them cousins is very hostile people. you stayed to yourself. But if you did them anything, they'd kill you. And they had 2, 3 run-ins amongst themselves and kill a few of them, kill their own people.
Well, you remember Boyd Lewis, huh?
Uh-huh.
He told me, you know, I used to sit on his front porch and talk to him about stuff. He said there was a lot of killing that went on that was unsolved, you know.
Oh yeah, they killed John Dupee right there in 1948, right there by, right behind Larry's store. They had a sawmill back then. The sheriff never even reported.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He was working for, he was a colored man, but he was very proud. He wouldn't yes sir and no sir them white people, and they got took offense to that. He said, y'all put your pants on the same way with me. Right leg and left leg. I ain't got to sir y'all a damn bit, and I ain't got to bow down to you. So they decided they'd kill him. In Slidell, I remember, I must have been a little bit of kid, that they had a man did something over there inside. It was a minor thing, and they killed him. And old John Keller Griffin, you know his name, Slidell Park name?
Oh, yeah,
Griffin Park. He said, well, we got what we have to do is teach all the niggas a lesson, right? He took him, tied him behind his car, and he drug him down Main Street.
Just like what happened in Texas
That's
last
right.
year.
So I was going to Catholic school, and he come down there, and he run for the United States Congress. And my teacher thought he was, she thought he was Jesus Christ. Oh, she said, Dr. Griffin is gonna come and talk to all the students. And I brought one of them pictures about the house, you know, old John Keller Griffin, and my mama just did one of these. So I don't want that old filthy thing's picture in my house.
Did he kill the man?
Huh?
That he drug behind the
He
car?
didn't kill him, but he was going to set an
Just
example.
humiliated him, yeah.
He did what? If the man was already dead. He took him, tied him behind his car and drugged him. That was to suppress all the rest of the people.
Yeah. Was there a lot of that went on? I mean, that you were aware of? Or?
Well, they had another fella that called Cornelius Sims, and he was a fella that he wouldn't bow down to none of them. And they had one sheriff they called Harvey Russo and George Saxon. He was a police in Slidell. So Slidell never had no jail, so they was transferring him to Covington. When he got out, got right around Bayou Castina where that firehouse is, right around there, said, he told me, say he wanted to get out and take a leak. He got out of the car, one handcuffed. When he went out to take a leak, he shot him and killed him. So he tried to run away.
Mm-hmm.
What years was this happening?
Oh man, it must have been 28 or 30, something like that, 32, something like that.
Well, Dr. Samuel Hyde at the Southeast University, he wrote a book that I just finished reading called Pistols, Politics, and the Dilemma of Democracy in the Florida Parishes. And he talks a lot about all the killing that went on over here. This was a very violent, Florida parishes were very, very violent because the eastern part of the parishes were very poor, whereas, the eastern part very poor, but the ones like West Feliciana and East Feliciana all along Mississippi River, they were very, very wealthy because this is where the planters were. That's where my relatives.
That's where the Conways were.
Yeah, I mean they had cotton and
they flourished.
Oh, and they controlled the politics, but they would sort of pair off and start feuds to eliminate some of their political rivals, And the term bushwhacker, you've heard the term bushwhacker?
Yeah,
that came from here.
Get behind the bush and whack you.
Yeah, no, they in order so they could get a good ambush line of fire, they whacked the bushes down so they could kill you easy. And that's how that term got started. I just found out.
Yeah.
And I talked to Dr. Hyde over there about this Legacies program, so he's gonna help us, and we're gonna put this in the archives there.
Well, I tell you what,
Well,
they never would fool with my father and them's people, because they know they was very hostile. They stayed to themselves. It was all good hunters. It was all crack shot marksmen. They had good rifles, they had good pistols, they had good shotguns, and they would use them.
yeah.
So they kind of stayed away from them.
Well, and the sheriff, I mean, they weren't really that keen on solving murders, particularly when it came
You
to
never
black
had a
people.
sheriff down here. All they always had was a constable. When something was bad, I remember they had old sheriff and all his name, Walter Gladys. He might come down here twice a year. The next time he'd come was a homicide. Somebody got killed or shot, and he would come with the coroner and make a little old paper there about that long. You was there when they shot John? That's him, Mr. Walter. Who shot him? Frank. Put that on the paper and go back to court.
When that the Gladys family, that's mainly like around Bayou Lacombe.
But this, he didn't belong to that crew. Walter was a kind of trained. He was a little short man, wore a cowboy hat, and little fine mustache, kind of like a little Frenchman. But he didn't belong to that. I don't think he belonged to that crew down there.
When that,
Thank you.
In a good tell moment, a good man took his picture.
Thank you, young man.
all right, we're at the home of Peter Kuzan, Peter and Helena Kuzan. Yeah, come sit over here, Mr. Kuzan.
Comfortable, you the guest.
Well, but he's gonna be taking pictures. And we're talking to him about his life and achievements in the 20th century. This is specifically to go into the Library of Congress. And this is called the Local Legacies Program. What it is, it's to document people, legacies, events, things that are important to the American life at the end of the 20th century. And the Kuzan family that we're going to be talking about goes back to the 1700s in this area. The date today is, what is it? December
12 and 3.
December 3rd or 4th?
No, the 3rd.
Yeah, December 3rd, 1999. So we're right at the end of the 20th century, the end of the millennium. My name, the interviewer, is Tom Akelin. I live in Lacombe, which is where we are today. And the photographer on this project is Owen Murphy, who has done a lot of photography, particularly on Les Lumières de Mort, which is the Creole tradition and ritual of lighting candles on the graves of their departed ancestors on All Saints' Night, November 1st. And Owen has done a nice spread in the Louisiana Cultural Vistas magazine, and he's also published a book on the Creoles in the 7th Ward in New Orleans, and he's working on doing some projects with the Creoles in Natchitoches and Lafayette too, huh?
I haven't done much around Lafayette.
You haven't done much yet. But I mean, this is what the object of doing this is about, is that the Creoles have long been sort of neglected. Their heritage, their culture and all has not really been brought out to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. The Cajuns have done a good job with their coda field, and after 30 years, it's now very good to be a Cajun. So I think that we can probably do, hopefully, something similar with the Creole people. And it's part of Louisiana's major heritage. So I guess that serves enough as an introduction. And I did. So, Mr. Kuzan,
Yes, sir.
is that your full name, Peter? Just Peter what?
McNeil,
McNeil.
Peter McNeil Kuzan Sr.
Where'd you get McNeil from? This is the first time I'm hearing that.
I never liked it, I don't never use it, I just use the M. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, your family has an illustrious history, and if you don't mind, I'd like to see if you can give us some background on your family, starting with who? Francois, huh? All
Well, I'll open this little thing up here we got.
right.
Said, the first one was, it starts around 1740. Most of this thing is in French here. And they said the first one, I believe, was to be Pierre, but he was only 38 years old. And it's 250 years after his death that we talking about. Pierre settled in New Orleans, the colonization in the early 1700s. This was all well before the United States Declaration of Independence and the formation of the Louisiana Territory. New Orleans was first occupied and colonized by the French and later the Spanish, then again the French. The first French settlers arrived and established the city of New Orleans in 1718. On April 25th, 1740, Pierre Cousin married Francisco Renard, who was also, according to Alice Forsyth, a native of New Orleans. Theirs was one of the first marriages in the new city of New Orleans. Pierre and Francois owned more than likely lived in a sizable piece of property on Bourbon Street in New Orleans with the adjacent lot space in the Conti around the corner. The register which listed the marriage performed in the St. Louis Cathedral, according to Alice Forsyth, author of Louisiana Marriage by Virtue, and spelling the name that contains suggests that Pierre's parents were both French and Spanish. However, all the entries in the St. Louis Cathedral register at that time were written from Spanish perspective. Don for Mr. Don and Dom for Madame. Pierre Cousin was listed as Pedro Cousin. Francois was listed as Francina. Still it is indicated by Edward LaRoche Tinker. Pierre was a full-blooded Frenchman and not a Pedro. And Francisca was also French. Her name was Francois. According to the research by, Dagmar Renshaw? That's that author.
Yeah, Dagmar Renshaw Lebreton.
Le Breton. Pierre came from Flanders, France. There was a legend told by historian Peter Cousin, Senior of Lacombe, that the cousin family migrated from France to Canada, then from Canada to Louisiana after getting in trouble with the law. Blaise D'Antoni, in his book of Choctaw Amar, Santam, and the Choctaws, briefly described the earliest settlers in Santam as being both adventurers and escapees from places where they had gotten into trouble. One of the descendants of Anatole Cousin Sr. had information that Pierre first moved to Canada, then to Louisiana, according to Edward LaRoche Tinker. Pierre settled in Louisiana around 1740. The allegation about getting in trouble with the law appears to be unrecorded folklore. You want to go on?
No, I'd rather we just talk about your personal stuff because I'm gonna send that to the library.
Okay, well now what you...
Well, for one thing, let's see. You lived your whole life?
I
were
lived my
born
whole
here?
life in St. Tammany Parish, but I worked in New Orleans. I was a carpenter in the boucarie.
You did a lot of
Done
renovation.
a lot of restoration work. I worked for Mercier Real Estate and Investment Corporation. They own a lot of property in the boucarie, and I worked there for 18 years. And my wife worked for Southeast Louisiana Hospital, and I couldn't move to New Orleans, and so after 18 years, I stopped and came back and opened my mom's business in Lacombe, construction business.
You built a lot of houses?
All we had abundance of houses. Good. Well, we did all the hard articulate houses because we had, in our family, it was all builders, and they never sent you to school. Your father taught the oldest brother, and your oldest brother taught the next oldest brother, next oldest brother taught that, and so it handed down to you. And I was the last one in the family, so I had older brothers over me tell me what to do. By the time I got ready to be a carpenter, I was fully trained.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you now?
I'm 72 years old, born 1927. And I did building business. I stayed in the building business about 30 years. And we built a big house in Lacombe Harbor and Ocean and all around. Company's still going on. You know my brother-in-law Shelton LaFrere. After 1986, my knees went bad on me, so I gave the company to him, and I went to work for the assessor's office. But the job that I had complements this new job that I got, because it's all about building, estimating profit, and all kind of stuff like that. I'm still there.
How many children do you have?
I have 3 kids: Peter Cousin Jr., Miriam Winston, Marva Jones, and got grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
How many?
Let's see. Peter got 5, Miriam got 2, and Marva got 2. Then my granddaughter got Alicia Dorsey. And then, oh God, right here. She's got she had 3, but one died. That's a little baby that was just took the picture with her.
Mario?
Yeah, Mario's mother there.
Oh, yeah.
And she got a son, 11 years old, Christian Ducree. Very athletic fellow. He played ball, football, and everything. And this is a little map that I kept here. The man might want to make a
Oh,
job.
yeah, yeah.
Might want to make a job of it.
Definitely.
Full
How
of-
old are those maps, Peter?
Oh, Lord.
There's no date on them?
Before the railroad came in here, I believe,
Well, I see,
Francois had 4,800 acres of, 4,800 acres of land in Sandown and Parish. So Francois had this, and he had this, and he had this.
so he had property on the other side of Bernard de Marigny's.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that part of where the park is now?
And if you notice down here, it took me a long time to find this out because I didn't know about my family. Jacques Carrier was the son of Francois Carrier, and Francois Carrier and Francois Cousin was half brothers.
Oh, yeah.
There was this old lady had 2 sons. She had Francois Carrier and I forget the other one's name. And then she married old Cousin, and she had them other kids. This guy, this is the man's son there. He probably hadn't died when that went on.
Now, this is Jacques Carrier?
Jacques.
Jacques?
Yeah.
Not Jacques.
Yeah, Jacques.
Jacques. Oh, I've never.
That's the French name. Well.
Yeah.
And let's see something. Let's see how he
if we had anything on this,
There's a Duke Reed.
Duke.
He's a Francis Cousin over here.
Huh?
There's a Francis Cousin.
Yeah, that's a little small piece.
I talk about this, these old maps.
Yeah, it looks like that side goes over here, huh?
Yeah, you put that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Peter, what I'd like to do,
We have to cut this off.
yeah, what I'd like to do, if it's all right by you, is take that and get a blueprint, get a reproduction made of these to send
They
up.
got a machine that big, or they have
Oh,
to do it
yeah,
apart?
oh, yeah, no,
The blueprint companies do, yeah.
yeah, the blueprint companies do, yeah, I've gotten,
My friend got a company in Covenant that do that, boy run reflector called John Beal.
John Beal, yeah.
Yeah, John.
He's
Beal.
got a company that does it, I know Mandeville Blueprint,
Yeah, John do that.
Yeah,
I don't know
well,
how big his machine, but
if
they can
you,
do it in parts and put it together.
well, no, I know I can have it done
Well,
together if
yeah.
you don't mind, you know me.
This would be the one
Taking
you
it.
would want. Yeah, I don't know if you're interested in that.
Oh, yeah, both of them, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just curious, there's no date on here anywhere, huh?
No, they was cleaning up over there and they wanted to throw them away.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, I said, no, I'm not gonna throw them away, I'm gonna keep them. So, be damn, 4 years after that, they come back to me, they missed them old maps, they wanted, needed something on it, they had to come here and look at them. You didn't throw them away?
Yeah. Yeah, if Oak Lawn was laid out about 1906, so this map has got to be at least that old.
Oh, this older than 1906.
And how many houses do you figure you've built in your career as a contractor?
Couple thousand.
Whoa.
Hell, we say, sometime with, now, I didn't, all those houses, I wasn't a contractor, plenty of times when I did like this, man, plenty of time I freelance, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't, I was going work for other people, but I was always a supervisor, but when you supervise something, you're the one that's doing it, you're the builder, the other man might get credit for it, but if you supervise it, you're the builder.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of them right around here that we build.
But here's Frank Von der Haar. Where did he come from?
Huh?
This guy, Frank Von der Haar, like a Dutchman or something.
Yeah,
He
it's
got
Dutch,
him
huh?
got him a whole square, that's
Yeah.
a whole square he got. That's a big piece.
See, the railroad came through here about 1906.
Oh, so this is the railroad track here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the highway, I know, was paved in 1938.
Yeah, but that highway been here a long time.
Yeah, the highway's been here long, but it wasn't
Yeah,
paved.
39.
I think it was 38, 39, yeah.
I was here when that went on. I used
With-
to work out there for the man for 15 cents an hour, pick up pine knots on the grade out there. And he'd give us the pine knot. Because everybody had a fireplace then, or a heater. We didn't have all that electric and gas and all that kind of stuff then. 15 cents an hour after school. And during them times, T.L. James used to they had a burlap sack they would put on the pave after they poured it. And you had to go out there in the evening and wet it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was to cure that concrete. And then we'd have to go out and pick up them big rolls of burlap sack and bring them back to the office. The old man was good to us.
Yeah. Well, you worked,
And we'd take all the cement sacks and give them to us, and our mama would bleach them and make them white, and she would make shirts out of that. When he first gave me
Yeah.
some, I said, what I'm gonna do with that? So look, he told me, he said, look, son, you see this shirt I'm wearing here? That's made out of cement sacks. See, your mama knew what to do with that. It's supposed that, long stalk. You have to put cement in thick, some kind of fabric. It wasn't in paper. And paper bags hadn't come out yet. And you take them and get all them red letters and everything out and make you a shirt with it. You see this shirt that I got on? He said, that's mss309. Don't be smart, all right? Go get that to your mom. She knows what to do with that. 2, 3 weeks after that, I had some shirts.
Yeah, I can remember when I was a kid, my aunt, I had to stay with my aunt in a little shack, literally a shack with no running water, no indoor plumbing.
But you know, if you really want to talk about Lacombe, the existence of Lacombe was the interest in the timber. Lacombe was a sawmill town. Had big sawmill here. Kerry had one.
Who?
That people called Kerry.
Kerry?
Kerry, Kerry. And old Cousin had one. John Todd had one. Davis had one. So this was really a sawmill town. And what they did, there was business people, but all of them was kind of dead beats. They had a commissary. They sold shoes, grocery, and they didn't use no money. You had to use their money. They had something called brosines that would pay you off in brosines.
Rosine?
Yeah, and you had to spend that in this store, and this store was the highest store they had. So they just suppressed the people all the time. Just kept them down. You couldn't have nothing. And you couldn't do anything else. There was no work, so you just had to sit there and put up with this.
This was in the 1920s, I guess?
Oh, yeah, I'd say from 20s on up.
Yeah. So you can remember that?
No, I remember when I was a kid, I went to work right there where that Harbonia Bank is. Old Davis Wood Lumber Company had a little mill there. And we decided we was big healthy boys, so we went out there. I think he was paying 30 cents an hour. Went out there and got a job. When I went to get paid that Friday, you know where the Homestead building is there? Right on the corner of 8 and 190. There's a bank there, nice, a Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had a big old 2-story building there. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The wooden bank.
yeah, well, Charles Headdale had a grocery store there. When I went to get paid, he gave me a grocery order. I said, what's this, Mr. Davis? Well, son, we never sold the lumber, you know. We got to wait till we sell the lumber. We got what they call a money strain or some kind of old thing you get. I said, look here. I said, I live with my mom and my daddy. I don't need no grocery. I need me some money, because I got a girlfriend. And old Miss Moran was his bookkeeper. He said, well, old Martin, you think you can find some money to pay them? I said, if I don't get no money, I'm quit. I ain't coming back. But they had need us, because we were working right up in behind the bandsaw, taking the lumber off of the saw where there was a circle saw, running it in the vat, pulling it out of the vat, throwing the strips on the chainsaw, running the lumber down out in the yard. There's some black people, all kind of people that had some old carts there. They would put it on them carts and had a mule, and the mule would pull it out in the woods, and they would, what they call wind stack it. Had the big ramps like that, and they put it up there like the wind go all through there when it got dry.
Air dry.
When they would come back, they'd run it through the mill, through the planer, and then ship it to the yard.
Yeah. They didn't have any kills, huh?
No, that come later. They never had all. That was the kill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably because that was long needle pine.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it probably didn't
Well, that's what
really
it
need
was,
to be kill dry.
The Indians said that you couldn't own the land.
Yeah.
Land that was put down here, that you took care of the land took care of you. But the people from up north, they see where they could make a lot of money, come down and cut all that cypress and all that poison yellow pine, and that lasts 15, 20 years. And after that, well, the Lacombe just didn't have anything then. So you had to have a garden, a little farm, or you learn how to crab and fish, or you trap in the winter time, and whatever you could do, Spanish moss, and they had all kinds of little built burnt charcoal, and have a talk hill, run moonshine whiskey. Had all kinds of little things where you could make $1, you know. Yeah, it was tough for long. And during that time, they had no welfare or nothing like it. It was it. If you didn't have it, and my father would raise his hogs, and he had a smokehouse, and he'd kill his hogs and put them in the smokehouse. And then when the fish was abundant, he would catch a lot of fish, and they had those old clay crocks. They put that fish down in them crocks and put ice cream salt on it. A layer of fish, layer ice cream salt, layer of fish, layer ice cream salt. And when you wanted that in the wintertime, when you never had that, you go take some of that fish up. Well, you done bought salted cod, you know how that is. You take that boil of salt out of there and then fix it what they call boulettes. That's in French. That's potato and fish, and you fry it. Boiled ice potato and fish. Call that a boulette. And you eat that with some grits. That'd be your meal.
Was your mother, what was your mother's name? Was she from Lacombe too?
Yeah, from your Ardon.
Ardon.
Yeah, she's that old. It's still Cousin them was very intelligent people and very educated, and they got all kind of documentation because they was business people that had schooners and owned slaves and did all kinds of stuff. But my mother's people, I think Ardon them might have been Spanish. Old Ardon might have come from Cuba or somewhere down there. And they just had that old tradition of just telling the kids. They didn't believe in documenting it in the courts like these French people did. Like the French and the English and all of them, you know, they got all them records, but these people they just went on, you know, from word of mouth. Tell this one, tell that, tell the other one, like the Indians did. Maybe draw something on some old stone or something, or some old hide.
Were you very close? How many brothers and sisters did you have in your family, your immediate
I
family?
had the oldest one was Joseph P. Rudolph Jr., Bernard, Raymond. Had one he called John Edison, he died young. And then me, I'm the baby boy. I had one girl after me, her name was Inez. And the second child was Eunice. You met them girls in the graveyard over there the other night. That was her Sharon. And I told you that was my nieces. They're from Oklahoma, all over the country. I don't know them too
And
good.
Gloria,
Yeah, Gloria's my cousin.
oh, your cousin. Oh, okay. So how many in your family?
Joseph, Rudolph, Bernard, Raymond, Peter, Eunice, and Inez, 7. And Edison, 8.
Yeah. 8. So you had a big family.
Oh, well, during
Man.
that time, everybody had a big family.
Yeah, everybody did.
Yeah, everybody. You 7, 8, if you didn't count, you had on the 5.
But you didn't go hungry, huh? Because everybody
No,
grew stuff, or you
my
hunted
daddy was
fish?
fortunate. They had some of that old Cousin land left. They had about a couple hundred acres. All Bell Park down there was 180 acres. We were in possession of that. It was come out from old Jacques Scarrier. And we had that place that Rhodes got there. And that's right close to the swamp, and it's very fertile land down there. So he owned about 2 acres of that. Watermelon, cucumber, and okra, and beans, and all kinds of stuff, sweet potatoes. And you take them sweet potatoes, I don't know if you're familiar with this area, you take them sweet potatoes and you put some straw down in the field, and you stack them sweet potatoes up, you make like a pyramid. You stack them like, and you put straw on it, and you bank them. That's called a potato bank. And they'll stay there the whole year. Then when you need some potatoes, you just go there and you make your little hole in there. You get some potatoes out, you put the straw back on, you bang it up again. you put potato banks all over in the field. And then when it come time to plant the potatoes, you go in there and you take them out, and you plant your one row, and that's called slips, a sweet potato slip. You cut them about this long, then you make your row, and you put them in there. Make about two, 3 rows of slips. Then them slips make vines, potato vines. They grow all over the field. Then you cut the potato vines about this long, you get a stick, and you cut a hole in the end of it, a little notch, where you don't break that vine, where you don't put no pressure on that vine. You stick it down in the ground, and you pat it with that stick, and you leave a little indentation around it. Then you water it with a little fertilizer. You won't got to hand water everything, but 4 or 5 days, they'll wilt a little bit, but 4 or 5 days, they gone. And that's it, that's your potato crop.
How about education? How about education, the school in Lacombe?
Oh, way back, there had 3 classes of people here. There had blacks, or first say 4 classes. There had the blacks, everything was very segregated here. Indian, the Creoles, and the whites. And everybody was pretty well satisfied as all friends. They know you stayed on your side, I stayed on my side. There was white was staying over there by it. And that's the way it went.
Was there much discrimination or repression?
There was no kind of way to discriminate because you never did have to go among. You stayed in your society and they stayed in theirs. You never had no public places. I went to Catholic school. They had that old library over there was the only school they had here. I don't know where the blacks were. They had the Catholics taught the blacks down there where we at over there.
Well, what about Martindale? Wasn't there?
Oh, that was before Martindale I'm talking about.
Oh, this before.
Yeah, before Martindale.
Like about what time period?
We talking about it. They put that down there in the 40s,
Oh, yeah.
45 or 46 or something like. All below that, the Santa Ana Parish School Board had nothing for the blacks down here, so the Catholics taught them. That's a black Catholic school. But I went to Catholic school because I wasn't black. I didn't have to go there. I went to a Creole school. Where
So-
my old graveyard is down there.
Yeah.
But beyond that, they had a building in that Miss Josephine Suzanne Mitchell, a very serious old lady. And she would tap you with that rule if you didn't do right.
Was she the one that lived in that house? That
No, they had